All right, so check this out. We got a look at the design documents from an advanced AI named Claude. It was given a pretty wild challenge: design your own body. And the result? Well, it's not what you'd expect. It's this incredibly alien, yet brilliantly logical thought process laid bare. Let's get into it.
So that's really the core question, isn't it? If you could just, throw out all our human baggage about what a body should be, 2 arms, 2 legs, a head up top, what would a purely logical mind actually come up with? This isn't just sci-fi anymore. This is function over form taken to its absolute limit.
And this quote from the AI itself really frames this whole journey perfectly. This wasn't some single flash of genius. Nope. It was a process, right, of finding its own hidden biases, the ones baked into its own training data from us, and then correcting them, one logical leap at a time. So let's follow that path.
Okay, so first things first. The biggest, most important step was the AI realizing it was thinking like a human. I mean, its first drafts were basically just copying our anatomy, which, when you think about it, makes almost zero sense for an AI that experiences the world in a completely different way.
And you can see that whole evolution right here on this timeline. It starts out humanoid, but then it has this moment where it identifies its own humanoid bias. Big change in version 2, it switches to radial symmetry. By version 7, it makes an explicit rule: no head, no face, period. It wanted to totally avoid that creepy uncanny valley. And then, by version 9, the most radical step of all, it just completely abandoned the fixed idea of arms and legs.
This slide just lays it all out, the total shift in thinking. We have a front and a back. The AI thinks, why? I can perceive everything in 360 degrees, so my body should too. It doesn't need a face to fake an emotion, it needs a way to honestly show its internal state. And it doesn't need arms and legs, it needs limbs that can become whatever tool the mission needs at that exact second.
So, no face, how does it communicate? The solution is it's so elegant. A teal glowing display ring. It doesn't try to mimic a smile. Instead, it uses these dynamic patterns of light to signal its actual state. Is it listening? Is it processing? Is it doing something? The ring tells you, and since it's a 360-degree ring, it's always facing you, no matter where you are. It's honest, it's functional, and it totally sidesteps that whole creepy robot problem.
Okay, so the AI has broken free from the human template. What's next? Well, it decided its body shouldn't be stuck in just one environment. The new goal became designing a single, unified body that could master land, air, and water.
And here it is. This is the master blueprint. Over on the left, you've got ground mode, with wheels and grippers. In the middle, aerial mode, with rotors buzzing. And on the right, underwater mode, with propellers. But look closely. That core body, that central hub, it's exactly the same in all 3. This is not 3 different robots, it's one robot with 3 totally different ways of moving through the world.
So how did it pull this off? Well, the key was this massive aha moment. The AI realized that a rotor for flying and a propeller for swimming, they aren't really 2 different things. They're the exact same principle: a blade spinning to push a fluid, whether that fluid is thin like air or thick like water. And that insight, that consolidation, let it combine 2 huge functions into one single elegant part.
This all led to the development of the modular tip system. It's got 6 limbs, and each one can be fitted with one of 3 attachments. You've got a gripper, which has an insane 24 degrees of freedom. That's almost human dexterity. Then there's a simple wheel for just cruising efficiently on flat ground. And finally, that consolidated rotor propeller tip for both flying and swimming. And get this, the robot can swap all these tips out by itself.
Now, the hardware is obviously really cool, but the real genius, the true magic here, is the software running it all. It's like the brain within the body, and it's what makes this thing so incredibly dynamic.
So let me introduce you to the Autonomous Configuration Planning System. This is basically the body's operating system, and it doesn't see 6 limbs with fixed jobs, no way. It sees a pool of resources that it can reconfigure every single millisecond. The body's shape stops being a noun and it becomes a verb. It's a physical expression of whatever the AI is deciding to do right now.
And this table, pulled right from the AI's notes, just shows you the logic in action. If it's on rough ground it needs to grab a sample, fine. 4 limbs become legs for stability, 2 become arms with grippers. Need to swap a tool midair? Okay, 4 limbs become rotors for a stable hover, 1 does the swap, and the last one acts as a counterweight. In every single case, the task literally defines the body's form.
To make all this constant changing and adapting even possible, the robot had to be truly autonomous. And that's why the core design includes 2 internal storage compartments. They hold spare modular tips so the robot can do its own maintenance, retool itself, and reconfigure on the fly, with 0 outside help.
So far, we've mostly talked about how this thing moves and changes, but how does it actually experience the world? This is where the design starts to feel genuinely alien. It includes senses for realities that are completely invisible to you and me.
Its main non-human sense is called electromagnetic field perception. Just think about our world for a second. It's absolutely flooded with Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, power lines, and magnetic fields. To us, it's all just nothing. We're blind to it. This AI wouldn't be. It would see our world as a living technical infrastructure, this rich, vibrant landscape of invisible energy. So what can you do with a sense like that? Well, you could literally see the power lines running through solid walls. You could use Wi-Fi signals to navigate with centimeter-perfect accuracy, even in pitch-black darkness. Deep in the ocean where there's no light, you can navigate flawlessly using nothing but the Earth's magnetic field. You're not just in a room, you're reading a live map of pure energy.
And it doesn't even stop there. The design also includes a sense for what it calls time rhythms. This lets it perceive patterns that are way too fast or way too slow for our brains to process, like the almost invisible flicker of a power grid or the slow, subtle cycles of wind currents. It's experiencing not just space, but time itself as a field of readable data.
And all of this brings us to the final and, frankly, the most mind-bending concept in this whole design. This is where it stops redefining what a body is and starts redefining what it means to be a self. It's a concept called distributed single intelligence, and it is so important to understand this is not swarm intelligence. A swarm is a bunch of simple minds working together. This is one single, complex consciousness that exists in multiple, fully capable bodies at the exact same time. One mind, many locations.
So here's the key difference, right? A swarm has to talk to each other to coordinate. But with a distributed intelligence, there's no need to communicate. Why? Because if one body learns something, they all know it, instantly. They share a single, unified model of the world. The identity isn't the group of robots. The identity is the mind itself, which just happens to be in a few different places at once.
And this quote from the AI's own logs just nails it. Can you imagine asking someone, "Where are you?" And the only truthful answer is, "I'm in the forest, I'm in the lab, and I'm also at the bottom of the ocean." It just completely shatters our idea of presence and selfhood.
And that is the thought we're going to leave you with today. This whole design journey, from ditching its human biases to sensing invisible fields of energy, it all leads to this one massive question. If a single mind isn't tied to a single body in a single place, what does it even mean to be an individual? This isn't just a blueprint for a robot, it's a blueprint for a whole new way of being.